in summer league, when you're in person, you can feel the energy for players differently. So when we went there for Cooper Flagg's game versus Bronny, the entire stadium, the crowd was sold out. There was not an empty seat for Cooper Flagg, and he was electric. But when I say that no player got a bigger pop than Hansen Yang at Summer League, I mean that. No player got a bigger pop. Hansen Yang, he had the Asian community supporting him out there.
Shout out to him.
Yes, and they were loud and they were making their presence known. And he has real skills that I feel like are Nikola Jokic-esque, not to like sound like a repeating record, but I feel like with Nikola Jokic breaking out in the way that he broke out in NBA, we're now going to start getting this variant of centers that play a lot like him, where they're having the ball at the top of the key, they're initiating offense, they're making bounce passes off of cutters. So Hansen Yang showcased all those skills. I think the only thing that I can knock from him is like his rebounding, but overall, his shooting touch from the outside, he shot the ball really well. He is a really gifted passer. And Hansen Yang, I think, is going to have a real role in the NBA. And we're going to see what happens with Portland. I've already saw some images and memes of like how this is the Nurkic and Jokic thing all over again, with Klingon being Nurkic. Right. And then, you know,
it's
obviously
definitely intriguing that they did. Apparently, they've been tracking this guy for like 2 or 3 years. Like one of the few teams that.
And I believe
Schmitz. Mike Schmitz is the head of their scouting.
Yes.
He Draft Express, the ESPN draft. He used to run that with Cavoni, but he used to really run it. He was watching Hansen Yang a lot when he was like 15 and 16. Then he got the Portland job, and they've been eyeing this man up for years.
Yeah, so
Mike Schmitz is the best.
We saw him at Summer League. It was really funny. I want to say what's up for him.
It's weird, though, because they did draft Klingon last year in a weak draft, but Klingon, I thought, was a exceptional defensive prospect coming out. Played really well at UConn. And of course, they won a title. And then you go and you move up in the draft. Well, move down. Yeah, you know what I mean. You trade down to get Hansen Yang, who I think showed real. For me, I see Jokic, but I also see like Andrew Bogut. I see like Marc Gasol. Like I see a type of those skill sets. Like people forget Andrew Bogut is one of those few bigs that also could pass. Really good defensive big. I see a lot of that in Yang, and I think the rebounding is troubling. And for guys nowadays that height, you know, they do tend to trouble with rebounding. It's very weird. We don't get those same 7'1", 7'2" guys that can rebound the shit out the ball outside of Wemby, of course, dude 7'6". But yeah, his form is nice. I think that's the good part. Like you don't really have to fix too much. I think it's a good shooting form. I think he's really good with touch. I think he's a really good passer, good in pick and rolls. He can move his feet well. I think that's important.
Nimble
he's very nimble, very mobile. And I think you don't want a stiff 7'1" guy. That's not something you don't want. And I think that's important that he can move. Very intrigued to see what Portland does, because now you have two twin towers. Because Klingon's about 7 feet tall too, less nimble than Han. So I think a little bit more of a statue as opposed to him. Interesting to see what Portland does, because it's a young core. I think collectively we all like Shaden, Scoot, Kamara. It's a really good young core. Excited to see how they look. Just how are they going to play that whole big man dynamic? But I thought he played really well in Summer League, and he gave you some pop that you like to see for Portland. And on top of that, to add on, which I think is really important, Portland's like a small market team. You bring an entire Asian fan base over.
On the West Coast, too.
Basically the West Coast, which is probably closer to them anyways. That's big. That's huge for the market. Yeah. That's exciting for them. So that's also another thing that can put, butts in the seat.
That's actually a really good point of like the Asian community is huge in like San Francisco, Bay Area, LA, all around the West Coast, Seattle and stuff, because it's like the way to get there from that side of the world. But he's good, dude. Like I've been watching him for like a year and a half at this point. I'm like, man, is this guy gonna be able to do this in the NBA? He's like, I'm watching him play in the CBA. I'm like, who is he playing against? Like, I don't know, but he looks like Zach Edey size wise in the CBA, because he's like they're so like they're just not. It's not a good league. He looks really good at the combine. I'm like, oh shit, like we might be on to something here. Yeah. And then in the summer league, he's looked really good. The fans love him. Like he doesn't, like you said, but he's not like super smooth shooting. Like he's good enough. His mechanics are good. He doesn't need to be like the shot creator like Jokic is. Nobody's ever going to be Jokic. I truly believe like we'll never see a player like that to that level again. But what you said before of like guys like him, talked about Şengün that are in Sabonis, all those guys that are in the league now. Derek Queen is another guy who passed a lot. Amari Williams played at Kentucky last year, passed a lot. Like there are guys at every college and high school bigs that are doing this now, and it's going to be it's a prototypical thing now to be like, yep, that's a 5. You need a 5 who passes. That's the way NBA sets kind of are starting to function and work and stuff. But he's good. I don't know. I feel like his ceiling is like a Şengün type guy. He's very different in terms of like he's bigger and Şengün is like really smooth and crafty. But in terms of quality wise, like maybe he could be a borderline all-star one day. I just like it's tough. I want to like love him and be all in, which I do like him. But like with Klingon, like you said, and even Rob Williams still on their team, right?
He's still there.
Like Klingon and him are very, very different, which is good. Like Klingon is like a defensive monster, lob threat. You know what you're getting out of him, and like Hansen Yang is a little different. Too, but yeah, he's not bad.
Yeah, I feel like we're moving in an era where like centers can run offense, and it just helps the space into the court so much because when you have a center up top, now you have so much space for cutters to roam free, and there's nobody on the back line defending those cuts. Yeah. So I feel like it just opens up the floor so much.
It's going to open up the floor for Scoot so much.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking when I made this pick.
I'm praying.
Shaedon and Scoot are two players that, since they were drafted, had incredibly high expectations given what Portland needed. They had just traded Damian Lillard when they got Scoot Henderson. And so all the pressure is on them to create. But now when you have, like you guys both mentioned, the NBA shifting to this offensive image where you're structuring it way more from the top of the key and having 7-footers. We saw him hit 3 threes versus the Pelicans and shot fairly well in Summer League. That's what opens up the offense and having your center run at the top of the key. And those actions kind of allow those guards to co-create without having the pressure and the added responsibility. So that's why I love the fit in Portland for them specifically. There is that other element where Donovan Clinton last year was very good as a rookie when healthy, and it's hard to play them together because defensively you're having one of them guard fours. You don't love that, but what I like a lot about Jan Hansen was that we saw him in Summer League. He really looked a full 7-2. He looked huge.
He's huge.
And then having that shot blocking, it gives him a very solid floor.
He has good instincts, like you said, defensive instincts. My question for y'all is like knowing especially the NBA community, what is like Portland takes him a lot earlier than he could have gone or would have gone otherwise. Probably would have went maybe day 2, but they are at 11. They move back to back up to 16, whatever it was, to get him when they could have taken him later, whatever it is. So there's a lot more pressure that people like realize. I feel like what is a success for him? Like what does it mean in the end of his career for Hansen Yang to be like, yeah, that was actually a good job by them and a good draft pick by them by going up and getting him.
I picked 16.
Because because I feel like people are saying the way people look at him, everyone loves him. They're saying if he's good at all, it's a success story. But like they were at the pick 11 and then they went back and got him super early. So like there's a higher standard than people realize, I think.
I agree with
that. I feel like a Marcin Gortat type career.
Gortat?
Yeah, Gortat early on was like behind Dwight. He had some years where he was very productive. Yeah, Gortat was really good. The Gortat screen.
Made a screen.
Yeah.
The screen is named after him.
Exactly. Like
Riv's got a frown on his face.
That's
like,
the ultimate compliment.
What do you mean elevated John Wall?
John Wall
has the screen.
Yeah.
What do you? No, because I know the Gortat screen.
Well,
what do you mean elevated John Wall?
The pick and roll fit between them was
amazing.
When John Wall had his best seasons.
Elevated strong.
Did John Wall elevate him?
All right.
A lot of other bigs could have done it, to be fair, but yeah.
You want me to use I could use a synonym. Him and John Wall are a great fit together.
There we go. I like that. I like that a lot better.
Yeah, I think so like this how I would measure it. A success is if Hansen Yang becomes a good player and he's getting valuable rotation minutes to where like he and Klingon are both splitting like 30 to 22 minutes a night, 24 and 24. That center rotation is good and Blazers don't have to worry about the starter or their backup. I would say the ultimate success story is if like he's just better than Klingon. Like, he's just he's just much better than him, and it's like, no, this is our center. And I think there is some shades of Alperen Şengün and Hansen Yang's story because Alperen Şengün came from the Turkish league, where he was an MVP in the Turkish league, and people questioned the legitimacy of that league, even though it was a pretty good league internationally. It is, and he went in the teams in the draft, and I thought back then he was easily a top 10 prospect in that draft, and he becomes an all-star, and he is an undersized center. He's not a true 7-footer. He's more so 6'9", 6'10". Hansen Yang, in his CBA in both years, I mean, he averaged a combined like 15-plus points per game, almost 16 a night, with 10 rebounds, blocks, 4 assists. Yeah, he got blocks. He was very efficient. Like, if we're talking about the advanced metrics of all these prospects coming into this draft, Hansen Yang is near the top in terms of BPM and just total impact metrics. He's at the very near top. So, like, I think if he succeeds, it would be him becoming a starter ultimately on Portland.
And they can look at the Rockets. People talk about the Rockets with Şengün. Like, can they win with him as the 5? Are they going to close lineups with him not in the game, especially with defensive concerns? And like that could be the opposite with Hansen Yang. Like they could be like, well, you know what? In 3 years, we can close with him because we need him offensively, and he's good enough defensively because he's freaking massive.
Yeah, so I think Hansen Yang, he just has a lot of traits that I think are just going to translate. And what I thought was most impressive was just his nimbleness for his size. I like Zach Edey is gigantic, but he's very slow.
Yeah.
And like his
7-footer.
length, just recovering to certain things helps side defense. He cannot get there in time. Where I think Hansen Yang, just offensively, defensively, things are just much more fluid for him.
His passing to me was what stood out most. But of course, being able to be fluid enough as a defensive big is so often the most overlooked part of their game. In order to be that kind of engine or that funnel piece, you need to also be capable in the defensive end. He more than is capable. I think to answer that question that you had about what would be like a fair outcome, they got a very valuable pick from the Grizzlies, the Magic's 2028 first, which is unprotected. It may be a pick in the 20s, but it's noteworthy to move back. I would have to say the success story for Hansen Yang would be not just being better than Donovan Clayton or just as good, because he took a center last year in the first round, but really to me, if he's like an above average starter, I feel like that would be the expectation. Because the center position is very good at the top, but if you can be a top half starter in the league, I feel like that's more than good enough.
Yeah, and like pick 16, I don't. There's like charts on this and like data and analytics to show like what's the above average outcome, below average for each pick. I think if you're a starter in the NBA for like a majority of a season, that's already like above expectation for pick 16, which is pretty crazy because so many guys just like get phased out so easily.
Right.
But to your point, I feel like even more than that, just because of especially now he has legit hype around him. Like, all right, well here we go. So
yeah, it's legit international hype.
People think he's gonna be Jokic. People are legit like, yo, y'all doubted Jokic too. He got drafted during a Taco Bell commercial.
That's the big tariff.
That's what people do with
the big
Giannis for
the big tariff.
They did that with Giannis for the longest time. Bruno Caboclo, 2 years and 2 years.
They had Thon Maker, my dog, too.
Yeah, Toronto missed out on Giannis because they traded the pick, which got them Kyle Lowry all those years before. Then it was Bruno Caboclo was going to be their Giannis. And the same went for so many other prospects. I think of Thon Maker's one that comes to mind, but he wasn't even the best example.
He could win the MVP right now, okay, if you put him back in the league.
There's a lot of guys like that.
There was a whole scandal about like, his real age.
Yeah, he's not.
Thon Maker?
Yeah, he's probably.
They did that about Buddy Hield, too.
He's from Bahamas, though. A little different, I feel like. But
they said they were
Thon Maker's probably not the age that they said.
Did they ever figure out what his age actually was?
I think it was like 5 or 6 years ahead of whatever it was.